All right, before we start this one, Bobby, we got a fight tonight. Prediction.
Jake Paul's gonna shock the world and fuck Tyron Woodley up.
Welcome to another episode of Off the Beaten Path, your new favorite podcast. And today we have Trevor. How's it going, bro?
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good, man. And let's kind of start at the beginning, like the Sign Shack days and how you got started screen printing.
Okay. So back in 2015, the year that I met you, um, I had moved into a single bedroom apartment right next to my job, which was the Sign Shack in Gainesville, Georgia at the time. I had been working there for, I think, 3 years at that point. And I pretty much had my foot in the door. They trusted me to do all the sign preparations, installation, stuff like that. But I could barely make rent because, I'm like a 20-year-old kid, barely making $13 an hour, living himself in an apartment. So I'm like, okay, I need to utilize our resources at Suncheck, see what we have, see, what could be cost effective to make some more money. Then I realized, t-shirts are, always sold. Everybody needs to wear a t-shirt, the entire human race. So I made an Etsy account and I started doodling, learning Adobe Suites, Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, it didn't make me a whole lot of money. I mean, it was probably an extra like 100 a month, but for a 20-year-old kid living by himself, that extra 100 was very important.
Hell
So,
yeah.
no.
Hell yeah, most definitely. And like, did y'all have like Adobe and all that shit at the shop? Because that shit ain't cheap.
Yeah, we did. I mean, anybody in the printing industry, if you're into graphic design, they need to have that. There's not really an alternative. People say that there is. There's like third-party Photoshop type of deals, but they don't have like a whole suite, Adobe Suite is like 8 different programs, and we use 3 of the 8 for graphic design.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
y'all were printing mainly for like baseball teams or elementary schools and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, mostly local work. But for a while there, I think it was a solid 3 years. Keith Abbott, the owner of Sign Shack, was actually the highest seller on eBay for signs and banners, like in the entire world. So it was a whole game on eBay. You got to adjust pricing like every day, like see who's the new competitors, see who has a better product, all that stuff. But it was
Yeah.
mostly, yeah, banners, signs, road signs, smaller things. Yeah.
eBay's fucking annoying to sell shit on, man, because there's so many people trying to sell like the same item that you have. So yeah, having to fucking let me just bring it down to $3. Like it's
Yeah.
annoying. I hate eBay, but love it at the same time.
Yeah, I do too. I
And
like I remember when they put the buy it now option in when we were like kids, and I was like, here it is, changing the world.
Right.
hell yeah, 100%.
And do you have a graphics design background? Is that what you did before you found yourself at the Sign Shack, or did you just kind of fall into it and learn it on the fly?
Yeah, I just kind of fall into it. I think I was 17 and my parents were like, "All right, it's time for you to get a job." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll just go look." The Yeah, I stumbled in there and one of my old friends from high school got me in there for an interview and I didn't know anything. I walked in there, everything was straight over my head.
And what's the hardest thing to learn, like starting off,
Hmm.
or the things you stumbled
Well,
with?
I think definitely learning Adobe Suites on my own was pretty hard. I mean, Google's your best friend when you're learning anything, really. Uh, but yeah, that was pretty hard because I mean, having a design that someone else sent you and trying to fix it and turn it into something else that was the hardest for me to learn because it was somebody else's mistake that you don't even
Right.
know how they started it, let alone how they finished it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
that's it's like Google and YouTube. It's like you said, it's the best place to fucking learn shit. But it can also be hard because if I'm learning something from you and you're like, okay, then do this. I'm like, wait, how do you do that? you can't ask a person, you know, on YouTube like, wait, stop. How did you do that? So it's a lot of fucking work that goes
Yeah.
into learning shit off of Google or YouTube.
Yeah.
And when did you get to your new place of business in, I guess, Gwinnett County?
Um, it's actually in Alpharetta, Forsyth, but yes.
Mm.
Um, that was March of 2018. Yeah. Um, that was when the sign check, the property that our building was on, got bought out by the mega church behind us, Lakewood.
Oh shit.
And they bought that and they wanted to do something with it. I'm still not sure what it was. So that place got bulldozed, and Keith, the sign shack owner, built a sign shack replacement next to his house. Um, so he could just walk to work every day. That's when I decided I didn't really want to stay in Gainesville anymore. I felt like my aspirations had become bigger than just being in Gainesville anymore. So I started looking for different shops in Alpharetta and Atlanta, and the Alpharetta one called me back like within 3 hours of me putting in an interview on Indeed, and I got the job on the spot. It was really cool. They were pretty nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
And what do they have that maybe Sign Shack didn't have?
definitely more of an industrial, kind of vibe going on over at Associated Printing, the place I work now. Uh, our printer that we use to print banners and signs off of uses UV lights in the actual print head to print and cure the ink at the same time that it's printing. At my last job, it was kind of an air dry situation, so you could not let the banners fold on themselves or anything.
Mm,
It's more like inkjet versus UV ink. That's the
right.
biggest one. Um,
And oh no, keep going.
okay. Um,
Oh no, I thought you
the
had
other
more to
biggest
say.
one.
Okay, you do.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah, I
Zoom.
do.
Nate,
Gotta
shut
love
up.
it.
Let the
You're being
man
whacked.
say
You
his
know what we
piece.
say
Let
about
him
Oh
talk.
shit. Can't be whack. Gotta stay black. Alright.
that. Yeah, and also biggest difference between the screen printing machines at my last one and this one, uh, at SignCheck, it was a manual press, which means that all of the ink handling and all that, you do it yourself. You got to pull the ink through the screen with all your might for hundreds of shirts. Lot smaller of a machine, much smaller space. I had I think it was like a 10 foot by 10 foot space at SignCheck. And at this place I am now, fully automatic press, all electric, no compressors. It's silent, and I have a whole warehouse to myself for this machine. So it's a
Mm,
completely different world.
fuck yeah. Yeah, fuck that manual shit. I mean it seems more intimate, but definitely fucks up the convenience part of it.
Yeah, it feels very much more in depth as a crafter, pulling the ink and all that. But it fatigues you, man, especially if you're running hundreds and hundreds of shirts a day.
And, you know, speaking of like hundreds of shirts and shit, like what's some I guess some annoyances or pet peeves when someone comes to you with a job, it's like, fuck bruh, don't do this or
Ooh,
don't do that.
yeah. Let's see. Whenever they want like five locations, they'll want like a front, like full thing, and then they'll want two sleeve prints, a back print, and then like they'll want some kind of like personalization thing. Well, they'll want like it printed on the tag, like their name or logo or
Mm.
brand or whatever. Printing tags inside shirts, I figured out the most efficient way to do it like last year, but it's still like not a very fast process. It takes a lot of time.
Oh wow. And tags, they're not that expensive because I was watching oh shit, I did not turn my phone off. Um I was watching something on YouTube talking about, you know, like drip and shit. And they were
Mhm.
talking about like if you have your own design, then fucking have your own tag because it just looks better and people are gonna know, hey, this is from here. So
Yeah.
how much more expensive is it to actually get your own tag instead of like a Fruit of the Loom tag?
Well, so what I'm talking is screen printing tags, but I do have two different ways. I have screen printed tags, and then I do sewn in tags, which I I have a little stack of shirts over here. I save like everything that I print. Um, but yeah, so I have this kind of tag situation where it's sewn in and
Mm,
you can like hang it up on something. This is my buddy's clothing line, Preacher Company.
hell yeah.
But yeah, so that we charge. I think he got his tags on his own. He mailed them to me, but I charge 25 cents per labor to sew those in, which is not me sewing it in. I wish I could do that, but somebody else that I work with sews them in. Um,
Gotcha.
but for a screen print design, if it's one color like black on a white shirt, I charge I think it's $1.50 for each shirt. And if it's white, I think it's $2 is what I did last time.
Gotcha. Yeah, and
Oh,
I mean, it's to each his own, I guess, but definitely the more expensive choice with the actual screen printing tags, I think is better because since I start wearing like tagless shirts or tagless boxers, it's like, why do I want tags? They're fucking itchy. They're annoying.
yeah.
Yeah, I always cut them out anyways.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it was 5 to 7 years ago. The whole garment industry started making tearaway tags for the t-shirts. They used to not be like that, and all of a sudden it was a switch. The whole industry just changed at the same time.
And what do you mean by tearaway tags? Like you could just rip them
Like,
off easy?
Yeah, like they have
yeah, they're
little
like the paper.
perforations.
Okay,
Yeah, perforations.
got you.
I love
Got
that
you.
word.
It's a good word.
It sounds like what it does. Like when
Yeah.
you rip it, it's like a perforate.
Perf.
And that's what's awesome. Like I love fucking perforated edges. Like I love the feeling, the sound it makes. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
Yeah.
even after like the little ridge leaves behind, it feels cool too.
right, right.
And dude,
And
earlier you were talking about having fixed designs that come to you. Where
Hmm.
was it on the job that you developed the keen eye for design, or did you do art and stuff prior to getting into this?
I have done weird avenues of art growing up. I've always been into art. My mom always loved like painting and stuff. Especially her grandmother was a very good painter. Um, but painting never really like felt like a passion to me. It was fun, like a nice little like hobby, but I wasn't very passionate about it. So yeah, once I started this job, I pretty much was like, I have to learn this. I wasn't very passionate about learning it at first, to be honest. But when I learned enough to be able to create stuff, I was like, okay, this is otherworldly. It's so much different than a pen and a pencil in your hand.
and when did you realize like, wait a minute, this could be, I guess, like a side hustle. Like I can print for local bands and tattoo artists. Like when did that come into your head?
Um, I think it was I think it was when I met Stay Here. Or maybe no, I can't remember if I started making Stay Here's merch first or your guys' merch. Dead Blow. Um, I think it was I was making those Dead Crew shirts. You remember it had that like girl on the back and she was like in flames and it said
Mm,
Dead Crew on it.
yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of the first, if not the first design I made for any band or brand, artist, whatever. Um, and I remember everyone saying how much they loved them, like all of our friends, and we were getting compliments for them at our show, at your show and stuff.
Right.
That's when I realized I was like, and I just started asking around, like, hey, what are you paying for like t-shirts? Because I see it's printed on Gildan, which I know is realistically it's like $1 to $1.20 a shirt wholesale to buy a Gildan shirt. Like it is chunk change. It's nothing. So when people are telling me that they're paying $20 or like $15 for a white imprint on a black Gildan shirt,
Oh
I'm
wow,
like, that's $6 of labor and you're paying that much. I'm like,
Right.
I'm gonna keep asking around, then I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna put my effort into screen printing full time and after hours to help out the scene.
yeah.
And people ate it up. and I just kind of took off from the word of a mouth situation. Like I said earlier, I don't really do advertising. It's all just people talking.
And you can see the cost that people are paying for shirts because me and Nate were talking about the scene recently where
Yeah.
people are like selling T-shirts for like $45. And it's like, I'm sure they're not trying to get rich off a T-shirt, so they must have like $25 or $30 into this T-shirt. Because why else will you sell a
Yeah.
T-shirt for so high?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it probably does stem from they're getting fucked by whoever they're going to, so they're having to up the price so they can make profit.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
remember back in the day, if I paid more than like 15, 20 bucks for a T-shirt, it was like, that was a mega band. If I was paying 25 for a T-shirt, I was at a Korn concert.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I went and saw somebody in the scene, boy, that better be $10. I
Exactly.
gotta go to Waffle House after this. I can't spend all my money.
Right. For real. 100%.
Man, wow, sounds pretty good right now.
It does. Every time I come to Georgia, man, I get Waffle House. Like Waffle House in South Carolina doesn't compare.
That's so
Yeah.
weird.
It's not as good. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever had Waffle House in another state. Maybe Florida, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Waffle House should be Waffle House, but I guess Georgia does it the right way.
Yeah, I guess so. The one I had in Nashville wasn't bad, but it was definitely like way more country than I was used to. Like I'm used to like country Waffle Houses, but they're like singing and shit. And I'm like, okay, it's Nashville. I mean, it makes sense.
Welcome to Nashville. Hell yeah. And what's I want to know like because of course with the hundreds of designs you've done, what's the biggest fuck up you've made?
Mhm. Hmm. The biggest personal fuck up I made. Well, I think it was my first commission job, to be honest with you. I talk about it with the Blurry Boys all the time. They're a emo alternative rock band, which I have one of their shirts right here. I just did recently. Blurry. Um,
That's dope.
I talked to them at a Stay Here show and told them that I just started um, printing for people like locally and asked them, the same questions I've always asked everybody, like, what are you paying? And I was like, oh man, yeah, I can save you like $8 a hoodie if you guys want to, try out through me. And so they're like, cool. And I don't remember if it was like a rush order or not kind of deal whenever they did send me the job, but I had the flu and it was bad. Uh, and I was like, I can't not go in and finish this job because it's your first commission job. I was like, fine, I have the flu. I have to go in. Uh, and it was a pretty easy design. I mean, it was just like a front, and it was just pink on like navy hoodies, nothing crazy, super easy. But the pink ink I had was super thick. Like it was just like cement in a can. I don't know what was wrong with it, but holy shit. I put that ink in the screen. I'm like, it's like, fuck, get it there. It would it would just not come out of the can. So I'm like scraping it out and I'm looking at it. I'm like feeling like shit. I'm fatigued. I had the flu. Like I'm in the thick of it. And so I'm like, all right, I'll try to pull it through the screen. And it's like pulling dried cement, dude. I could not get it through the screen.
Oh,
So I was like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do? I was like, okay, well, I had this thing called ink curable reducer where it makes ink a little bit more runny. And I put way too much of that in there, like way too much curable reducer to where the pink ink became like almost clear pink ink. It
Oh
just,
shit.
yeah. And I ran the whole thing like that because I was just fucked up with the flu, like trying to like laser focus my attention into this job. And I just feel like so much shit that I can't. And I ran like 5 of them and I like cured them and I looked at them and I was like, oh no. that, that doesn't look very good at all. So I was like, I just have to finish it. I ran 5 of them at that point. You just got to run the rest of the 15. Um, but you know what? It turned out good. They loved it. They loved how they looked. And to this day, they still hold up, and that was like in 2015. Like they're like still intact and everything. So
Wow.
I feel pretty good about it.
That's so
Uh,
damn cool.
that's
Could have been
crazy,
better
man.
though.
That's crazy.
And
And
that's one thing that was wild to me, watching you on Instagram, like mixing your ink. For one, it is pretty thick, anyways. It's pretty viscous. And
Yeah.
two, I didn't realize that y'all had to mix your own ink.
Yeah, we have a bunch of we go through a bunch of different distributors where you can get like stock colors, like your normal navy, red, whatever. But a lot of the times I do have to mix them for certain color palettes. Like people are very serious about their color palettes. Um, so I have this little book that's like this long, about like this thick, and it has a bunch of PMS swatches on it, which means Pantone mixing system. Um, and I kind of just mix by eye. I mean, there's a lot of people that have like $1,000 mixing systems, but I find it very therapeutic to mix colors and it turn out perfect, It's a lot of fun.
I like for the shirts that have like the marbling on them, like the first run of Deblo shirts you did. Are
Yeah.
those that marbling? Is that you, or did y'all find those shirts?
I found those shirts from one of our wholesalers and I was like, Parker, if we got these, people will eat these up because it was just so like out of the ordinary different.
Yeah,
But yeah, they come dyed like that already.
yeah. I was showing Wendy those, and she's like, "Oh wow, those," because I have one of those in my closet, and she's like, "Oh, I wonder like how that process works."
Yeah, I think that's through a process of I think it's called sublimation. Yeah. You know how they like dip car parts and stuff like that and like and it like wraps around it like in that water. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Yeah,
Fuck,
Sorry.
man. Yeah, that's not the best way to describe it.
I'm going down a YouTube rabbit hole now. The
Yeah,
sublimation.
there's this like liquid dip stuff that they use to like wrap car parts. You just like it looks like a design sitting on the top of water. You just dip a part in, you pull it out, and then it like wraps itself around that part in like two
Oh,
seconds. And I think these shirts are dyed like kind of the same way, where they just like dip the shirts in and it comes out and it's like marbled.
Fuck
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Be
And
sublimating some shit.
you said what?
I said I'm gonna be sublimating some shit here soon.
Oh, hell yeah. And you talked about, like mixing colors and you do it by eye and shit. And I saw that you've done a couple of halftones and you said that they
Hmm.
used to kick your ass. What was difficult about halftones?
I don't know what halftone is, so explain that also.
Okay, for sure. Yes. Halftones are teeny, teeny, tiny dots that make up a larger image, which I should have. Oh, wait, no, I have one right here. So this is a example of a halftone shirt. I mean, these dots are so tiny, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but you see these like right here, how tiny they are.
Mm-hmm.
So those tiny, tiny details were really hard for me to print at first because I didn't have the right screen mesh, which is going to be, this is kind of another rabbit hole. Uh, but there's a bunch of different screen meshes. Like all of my screens, I have like 200 screens. They start from like, I think the number 50. The lowest one I have is a 110, but they start from like 50 and they go all the way up to like 455. The lower the number, the bigger the threads in the screen will be, so the more ink can be laid down. So I think the highest mesh screen I had at the time was like a 200, and that can hold pretty tiny details, but it cannot hold like pin dots. So I realized I was like, oh, I just need a 305 or up screen. And once I got those and I figured out the cure time for that screen, uh, I was able to print virtually anything. So that was a really exciting like turning point moment in my like a learning journey.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And also, do you mind going into detail about discharging?
Yes, that's a whole nother that's a yeah. There's about it's either 4 or 5 screen printing methods, like different ways to do screen printing. Um, Discharge is very in depth. It involves I should have pulled that shirt out too. I can actually pull it out and give
Yeah,
me a
yeah, yeah.
second.
Take your time.
Hurry up.
Don't be late.
I was almost late.
Hey, you
All right,
made it.
here it is. So yeah, so discharge printing entails you basically using like a bleaching agent to rip the existing dye out of a t-shirt and replacing it with another color. So the best part about discharge printing is you can basically not feel the design at all. Like there's no thickness to it. There's no like, heavy feeling on your chest. It's all um, so basically what you do is you put this bleaching agent into the screen and it'll just pretty much just put it straight over the screen and it has to dry. And I don't actually have the right kind of dryer to be running discharge at a professional capacity. You need a type of dryer called a forced air dryer where it just blows hot air all over the dryer. My dryer right now just has quartz bulbs that get really hot and it uses the heat to cure the ink. But they still turned out pretty good. I decided to do it for this tattoo artist because this would have been like a lot of ink just sitting in the middle of people's chests, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I was like, you know what? We want this ass to be fat and soft, so we're gonna use some discharge ink.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Um,
Down. Yeah. There is a lot more that goes into screen printing than I realized. That's fucking crazy.
And I
yeah,
love that you keep.
it's a whole art form.
And I love that you keep
Sorry,
one
Bobby.
shirt of every run. Because one obsession I have, and one thing I collect is T-shirts. Like I can't get rid of old T-shirts. But
Yeah.
you have really cool T-shirts that you got commissioned to make that you get to keep. So you have a very awesome collection there.
Yeah, man, I'm really proud of it. It's actually kind of getting unmanageable over there in that closet now, but I'm trying to keep it keep it up. uh,
And it's almost
I
like
met with
self-adver.
my
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say I met up with my a few friends yesterday, and I talked to my friend about turning all of these into a quilt because she sews a lot, and she's like, "Oh,
Mm,
that's easy." So I think one day I will make a huge quilt of all my old shirts.
That's awesome.
bruh.
Yeah, I've been wanting to
That'd
do
be
that with my
badass.
old scene T-shirts from back in the day, but I don't know if I have enough. And I also hope I get skinny enough again so I can wear them.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you
Yeah,
know how
man.
big I am. I used to wear like adult small T-shirts back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Zoom Bobby. Come on, boys, move your feet. We're like,
Oh, fuck yeah. All
Yeah, that was
fit and
awesome.
shit. Had
Yep.
a
yeah.
six pack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
dreads down to your ass.
You,
You were somebody else.
I
yeah.
know, man. I tried to get this dude to grow dreads with me at the same time. He's like, nah, bro, I'll never be twisted up.
Yeah. Now I'm twisted up.
Yeah, now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, I need a haircut. My shit's getting too long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me it happened by accident because I was just letting my afro grow out and I was using that little sponge thing to make it nappy and then eventually I was like, I either got to cut this or I got to twist it and I said fuck it. Now I have dreads. And something I want to know is how hard is it to make like shorts and hats because a shirt it goes on the screen, you do the little thing and how do you do that with like shorts or a hat?
So I do not. I've never tried a screen print a hat. That sounds
Okay.
in my head. People have asked me if I could do that, and in my head, I'm just like, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. I don't
Yeah.
even know if that's possible, but I'm not about to try to figure that out. Like,
Okay.
um, I so I actually commission since I work for my company full time and I freelance after hours. My freelance after hours is Trevor Silk Screens brand. uh, I commission all embroidery to my day job, and they give me kind of a wholesale cut deal, which is really nice because the customers don't have to pay that huge embroidery price either. Uh, but for shorts, it's pretty easy. I mean, I have different size printing palettes. I have the normal, I think it's 16 by 20, that I use for t-shirts, and then I have one that's like 4 inches by 20 inches, and then I have one that's 5 inches by 20 inches. Then I have another one that's like 10 inches by 20 inches. So I can use all those different ones for different things, which I would probably use the 5 inch one or the 10 inch one for short legs. Uh, yeah, it's not that much difficult. I do have to run the machine slower though, because I have a muscle memory for putting on shirts, but for shorts I don't really have that muscle memory, and it's a little bit more finicky too. But I don't really mind. I really wish I could do some more shorts, but the wholesale apparel industry is just screwed up. All inventory is just screwed up from COVID and shipping containers and
Mm.
all these other factors.
Yeah, COVID fucked a lot of shit up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it
Whoever
did.
thought we'd run out of chicken wings?
We ran out of chicken wings.
Yeah, there's a chicken wing shortage, man. Chicken wings are like gone. You can't buy them anywhere.
And
What?
if
I
you
didn't know that.
Yeah.
if you can, I bet they're expensive as fuck.
Yeah, most likely.
Cause I know that's what happened. Like the steak and other meat at the beginning of COVID, is prices.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was stupid.
Yeah, and
And yeah.
California's having a problem with bacon right now, and I'm like, why don't you just ask the other states? We got some bacon.
Right. For real, for real.
I was like reading that article while eating bacon at brunch last week, and I was like, what?
Oh man, everything's weird. Everything's strange. It
And man,
doesn't
how
make sense.
Yeah.
lucky how lucky do you consider yourself that your side hustle and your day job are the same thing? Because most people like have a side hustle to escape their day job, but you get to do something you love all day long.
Yeah, it definitely I feel a lot more positive about the stuff that I print after hours because I can take my time. I'm not under the gun. And all the variables are controlled by me, which is really important. Because I can be kind of a perfectionist, but I also want my brand to speak for itself. If I'm going to be doing word of mouth advertising, it needs to speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I like the freedom that I get after hours. Nobody's coming over there and bothering me. I can blare music at any volume I want, sing like an idiot, uh, and it just feels nice to like kind of be my own boss. It's like that. It's kind of like an illusion because in reality I'm not. But they give me a lot of freedom to begin with anyway. My bosses very much trust me. Um, there was something else I wanted to say about that. Yeah, I don't remember.
It's
Over my
gone.
head.
I hate that shit, man.
Yeah.
And what's something like when you look back, like what's something that you look back on? It's like, man, I've made it a long way since when I first started.
Hmm. Yeah, printing for like the bigger local heavy hitters that we liked and stuff. Like when you guys first started like printing for a Legacy and Written a couple weeks ago was pretty
Yeah,
pretty cool because I mean we've been seeing them play for fucking years now.
right.
Um, and printing for like I really want to print for bands that I like listen to, like bigger ones, but it's still great printing for bands like Seder and printing for
Hell yeah.
bands like even Blurry and Stay Here. Like I think Stay Here and like Blurry and like our that little scene right there,
Yeah,
they have what's trendy. They don't even try half the time, I feel like, to be trendy. They're just genuinely trying to make music, but like printing for bands that are genuinely like full of emotion and they're kind and like great people and just supplying great merch to good people feels the best, to be honest.
right. Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, that's also something that I love about this podcast is it's like we get to have people on that we genuinely fuck with, and
Yeah.
it's cool digging into people's brains, seeing how they think, and like rather it's seeing your process, seeing a musician's process, seeing the OnlyFans girl process, like whatever it is, like just seeing creative people's process is cool as shit.
Yeah.
And have you gotten to print any more shirts using the cmyk process?
I tried. So this last week we are doing for my day job, associated printing job. We're doing like I think it's like 2,000 shirts and it's 6 colors. and our press can only handle like 5 spot colors at a time, which means like, something like this where it's just like, block colors basically. And you saw the video on CMYK how that's done, where like the colors kind of mix in the screen together.
Right,
Do you see
right.
that? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, what it does in Illustrator and Adobe Illustrator, it can separate it out automatically for you, like all those 4 colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. It'll automatically make those screens for you and change the percentages of the ink being laid down so that it'll mix perfect in the screen. And this shirt, the Ride shirt, yeah, this turned out perfect. This is exactly what the album cover looks
Hmm.
like one of my favorite shoegaze albums of all time. Turned out great. But I tried doing it with just a normal, like, blocky, like, high school theater shirt because it was 6 colors. It turned out like shit. And like my
Hmm.
boss is the one that fixed it and separated it out and all that. But it looked nothing like the file on the computer. And we're not sure why. Uh, I'm not either. I did like extensive research that day on the clock, extensive research because we did not understand what happened, what went wrong. So we're gonna be figuring more about that this week because I thought we had it down because this looks sick, but I
Right.
guess not.
Down. That's weird.
It is weird.
And eventually we're gonna come to you, to get our shirts printed. But what's the process that we need to do to make it easiest for you before it gets to you?
Well, it would not be me designing it unless it's something that's in my range. I can do pretty simple logos and stuff, but I mostly outsource everything for graphic design, which is the most important thing in this process. If the design is not done right, I have to spend like hours fixing it, which has become kind of normal for me now. I'm cool with it, but it sucks when I'm slammed. Uh,
Right.
if having a vector file is the best way to go about it. Uh, Vector meaning that there is no pixels. You can zoom in over and over again and it'll never be pixelated.
Oh,
That's how you know it'll be clean print on the shirt, all that. You can't see any rough edges, nothing. I'm very serious about like vector art because it makes the shirt look 1,000 times better.
Right. Fuck yeah.
So that's all you really need. Vector art and making sure that all these colors are in separate layers in your file so that whenever I need to make a screen, I can just turn off the black layer and then I can just print the yellow layer
mm,
and all that.
And most graphic designers, I'm sure, know that. So if we went to them and was like, "Hey, we need shirt or a design for a shirt," we're gonna send it off to get screen printed, then they should know all of that you just said.
You'd think so, but no,
Mm.
not really. You
That's
kind of,
crazy.
yeah, hence me like fixing designs all the time. The only people that really know are people who have worked with screen printers before, like,
Mm.
kind of seasoned graphic designers, people who are still in their like 4-year mark, as I like to call it, because I've been seeing that average lately, don't really know what they need for a screen printing design. So
Right.
I can tell you guys the parameters you need, like all the boring details later over email or whatever.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely get it figured out. We gotta figure out what we want, because my thing is like when the graphic designer, when they like have a template and it's like your band's name here, it's like a lot of those are badass, but I want something original to us.
Okay.
So yeah, gotta think about that before we get into it.
Yeah, and I can send you guys like 3 or 4 designers that I really like and trust.
Hell
See
yeah.
if they fit your style and if they can make it what you want,
hell yeah.
do it.
Yeah, definitely send that. And let's say you're training someone new. What's something that always might stump them that you're like, oh man, they're probably gonna have trouble with this?
That well, there's a thing on my screen printing machine on the screen. There's a stop, a finish. Sorry, wow. There's a start and a finish button. uh, you have to put the finish button on when you put your last shirt on. If you don't do that, it'll start printing on the printing palettes, and the printing palettes have spray adhesive so that the shirts will stay still when it's printing. Because you don't want it moving all over the place when it's trying to print into like really tight spaces. So if it prints on the palette and there's spray tack on it, it goes pop, and it'll just keep doing that, and it'll
Uh,
eventually rip the screen. Ink will explode all over the printing
Oh,
palette. It's a nightmare, and literally everybody who's ever worked at Associated Printing has printed on a palette, me included. I did it last month. Um, it happens, but
right.
it's so funny because I'll be watching them. I'll be like, make sure you put the finish on. They're like, okay, and then they don't put the finish on. It's like literally a second later, and it's like, and I was like, so I have to like slam the like emergency stop bar, and they're like, what happened? I'm like, you didn't put the finish on. Like, oh.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Fuck yeah.
That noise just gives me so much deep anxiety because I know like when that happens, shit is wrong. Like it's time to stop the machine, rethink our
Right.
choices.
Oh man. Yeah, I feel like that's one of those fuck ups where it's like once you do it, you got a few months because you're like, I'm not doing that shit again. That is
Yeah,
not happening.
yeah.
And
Also, learning the muscle memory is very important too, because you can shut your brain off and print. Got to put the shirt on straight. I mean, that's really hard for a lot of people at first too, putting the shirt on straight in like half a second intervals. I usually start them off with like it's called a dwell time on my machine. It basically means how many seconds are you're going to be waiting in between each print. So more seconds means more time for them to put it on straight. But eventually they need to get to zero. And for new people, I'll give them about 2 to 3 months. But I have this guy here now that just started a couple weeks ago, and he already knew how to screen print. So he got a few weeks um, because he knows what he's talking about. I was like, all right, time to start doing zero today. And he's like, oh man, my back's hurting and stuff. I was like, all right, well, go get yourself a freaking icy hot patch at lunch because we gotta go. We have like 8,000 shirts at our shop right now. It's like
holy
crazy right
shit.
now.
well, I was about to ask the number 8,000. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's fall is our biggest time at Associated Printing. We have like 11,000 shirts for Texas to print in a couple months for their entire state's thespian conference. So
And from
That
shirt 1 to shirt 11,000, how long does that typically take?
that's gonna take us. I don't know how many colors it is in the front, and I'm not sure if it has a front and back, but at least for the fronts, it'll take us close to a couple weeks. Um, but soon we will have another fully automatic machine put in the building next to us, so we'll be able to do it faster. But one machine, yeah, it's like 2 weeks, and it gets pretty grueling. Like I have to make sure I sleep like at least 8 hours a night. Like it's ridiculous.
fuck that, bro. Fuck that. Yeah, that sounds stupid.
My brain's hurting. It's like I've never even seen
Yeah.
11,000 shirts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's when screen printing starts to feel like a job, and that's where the freelance is the escape, where the creativity
Yeah,
comes in, and yes, it's just work sometimes, but
for
and
sure.
what's the what's I guess like the worst shirts to print on and like what's the highest quality? Like you said Gildan's pretty cheap.
yeah, the worst shirts. There's this brand called District, and they make some pretty nice quality shirts, like on par with like Next Level, which is the shirt I'm wearing. Pretty good quality, like high thread count. But they make one that's like super thin. It's like 4 ounces. The normal average for shirts like five. It's 4 ounces, and their threads are super open. So like
Mm.
I tried running, I think it was 8,000 of those last year with Colin Alley when he was working with me, and dude, it just would not hold the white ink. It looked like gray on the shirt. Like the white imprint looked gray because all the threads were so open that it just seeping right through the shirt. Like our printing palettes looked like we printed directly on them because of how much
Mm.
ink was seeping through the shirt. Those are like, I think those are like 97 cents a shirt, which is like in the danger zone. Like if it's under $1, that shirt's gonna be a piece of shit, just so you know.
Right. And how
um,
much does like the thread count? Like what matters when it comes to shirts fading? Like not the
hmm,
actual shirt itself, but maybe the design.
design. Well, definitely thread count does matter. Because it can hold that design in tighter. It doesn't have a whole lot of open space to where it can crack and degrade. Um, but also, you got to make sure it's cured. That's a big problem with band shirts. If you buy a shirt from a band and you walk away from their merch table and you take the shirt and you stretch the design and it cracks, that means that it wasn't cured and that shirt's going to last you not all year, you know?
Mm,
So you got to make sure that shit's cured for sure.
Down. There is a lot more that goes into this shit than I thought. That's crazy.
I've had a lot of uncured shirts. Some
Yeah.
always say that. It's like, man, why did it rip? I've had it for like a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
I tell people is you can save it with the hair dryer if your hair dryer can get hot enough. But also you could put like a piece of wax paper over it, or I don't know if wax paper is good. I think I've done that before, but don't quote me on that. Uh, but if you can find something to separate the design from an iron,
Mm.
then you can cure it better
Okay.
if you ever find one like that.
That makes sense. And I just had something in my. Did we talk about TikTok before we start recording, or have we talked about it since we started?
I don't think me and you have talked about TikTok. Maybe drunk in the pool a couple weekends ago, but that's
Exactly. Yeah. Fucking. Yeah. Drunk conversations always go by the wayside. It's like,
yeah,
like you'll bring something up. I'm like, oh shit, we did do that. It's fucking crazy.
yeah.
You make the
We'll
best
remember it in
memories
like
you
a
never
year.
remember.
You said what?
That's right.
You make the best memories you never remember.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
And you did a design back last year, I think last summer, when all the protests were going on. And I know you were gonna do that mental health shirt. So like, do you feel like a maybe sort of, I don't want to call it this, but sort of a responsibility to now that you have a platform to do shit like that?
I do, man. Sometimes it feels heavy because my whole goal with this freelance thing to begin with was not to be making bank. It was to help out the community. So sometimes I feel guilty when I'm like slammed and I'm like making really good money. Um, and I feel like, I don't know, I've always not been a fan of millionaires and their mindsets and how their egos take over their entire lives. So I've always been really wary of money. I'm just very aware of like my mental health in general, I think. Um, so yeah, I do feel an obligation to the community to do that kind of stuff. And I felt bad when I couldn't do that mental health shirt in May because of how slammed I was. I did not have a break for like 2 months. So yes, I do.
I like the word obligation better than responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think you're gonna be able to get back to that shirt once you can catch a break? Because I know it's also probably been hard for you, with COVID and people coming to interviews and then not showing up because they got that unemployment
Yeah.
check coming in. So do
Yeah.
you want to
We
get
went
back
through
to
like
that?
8 people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of scammers out there, dude. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy. And I understand it, because I collected unemployment for a little bit. So I don't know how it is now with the COVID, but I know you have to fill out applications, and I was filling them out, but I'm not gonna call y'all back. I'm getting paid by the government. They were calling, leaving
Oh man.
voicemails, being like, "Yeah, so got your application. Interviews this." I'm no, it's not happening.
So did this just turn into a reaction podcast? Because you have not told me that you did this before we were on this podcast. Here's my reaction. You're the problem.
And dude, I was worried about him. I was going to family and asking like, so is he really looking for jobs, or is he just hanging out? They're like, we don't know.
Yeah, I was
He just
hanging
wants to
out.
go back to work. He was going on vacation. That's when he drove out to
Yeah.
Colorado for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just like,
was.
this dude is balling on Uncle Sam's money, and I'm paying for that shit.
Yeah, I was definitely proud to be part of the problem in that 3.5 months. But yeah,
Uh, but yes,
um,
I am gonna come back to that mental health shirt. I still feel like it's missing something though, so I'm gonna figure that out. Probably redesign it a little bit, and then release it again sometime soon.
do you have any clue what it's missing? Because I think it looks gangster as fuck.
Yeah, like the brain design is gonna go on the back, but I think I want to have a circle around it, and I can't decide if I want it to be chains, like traditional tattoo, like style chains, or barbed wire, or just to have say like Trevor Silk Screens, Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if I want to throw my own brand in it or not yet, but figuring it out.
Fuck yeah, man.
And one thing I've gotten into recently is watching time lapses or like real time painting on like YouTube of artists just showing you from start to finish what they do on a canvas.
Yeah.
And one thing that blows my mind is when that person knows their painting is done. Because if it were me, it would have been done a long time ago. And would have looked amazing. But then they add so much more to it, and it's like, damn, like it needed that. So with a design that you feel like it's missing a little bit, how do you know when it's done for you?
Hmm. Well, I always do a mock-up. I'll take like a picture of the shirt from like a stock on the website, and I'll like mock it up on the computer and like print it out on my paper printer, kind of like look at it. Then I'll also print it out to size. Like for this design, I printed this out on our big printer and I laid it on a shirt. And I like stepped back away from it, just kind of like eyeing it. Um, and then I'll decide if it needs some more depth or say it needs to be bigger, bolder, maybe change the ink color. Um, Usually I'll know when it's done when I do my first test print. Like with this one in the TikTok, you can't really see it because it's so fast, but there's actually a part of the design in the actual TikTok video where the purple is printed into this handle, and that wasn't supposed to happen. So after the
Mm.
TikTok, I went under the screen, I like taped that up right there. And I also remixed this gold after that TikTok too, because it was really dark and all these colors are super bright. So I was like, okay, I need to make a new mustard color. So I did that as well. And then I was like, next test print, this came out, and I was like, that's damn sexy. We ready to go.
Hell yeah. And you do bulk orders. So what's the minimum order that you will take in?
Well, I always say I won't do anything under 20 if it's, going to be resold, like wholesale work, basically what I do. But recently, I don't know if Bailey's going to watch this, but I'm making her bachelorette party shirts. Her sister commissioned them, and
Mm-hmm.
she wants 7. And I've never done that before, but we love Matt and Bailey, so I
Honey.
was like, there's very rare times where I will make exceptions for stuff like this.
Gotcha.
Uh, I mean, a lot of you guys have asked me like, hey, can you make me one shirt for this? Like, somebody asked me to make like a Pornhub shirt. I won't name him. He knows who he is. Um, and I was like, you motherfucker, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, I will give you $80. Like the license 160. He's like, but yeah, but it's like it's mine. It's personalized. Like, okay. He wanted Pornhub here, here, and the back.
Damn.
Pornhub, Pornhub, Pornhub. You
Hell
fucking
yeah.
maniac. Not doing that.
Oh man,
Oh, that's
that's awesome.
amazing.
I love our friends,
Oh, that's
Me
making my
too.
stomach hurt.
bro. We're fucking going. We're going to Vegas.
Oh man, I know. I need to plan that today, actually. I need to do some more planning.
Man, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a wild time, a fun time.
It's gonna be in the tops. That's for sure. I hope none of us go to jail.
Yeah, same. I hope I don't catch AIDS. Like, yeah, everything.
Uh,
Oh
Oh
man.
man, what music have you been listening to lately?
man, so I've been jumping around a lot, but as of like the past 2 days, my favorite hardcore punk band, Turnstile, put out a new album, and it's great. They are going more away from the I like to call ooga booga hardcore riffs, where, where it's just like drop fucking F, just like dun dun da 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 da,
Bro.
and they're trying to like incorporate other sounds into it, and like their new album's called Glow On, and they've it's like all about like love, glowing on, being your like a good part of yourself, and it's very trendy. It's like very trendy, and they're like about to tour with Suicide Boys and Chief Keef.
The
No
fuck?
hardcore bands at all. Yeah, bro. And like it's awesome. I love it. It has like dream pop elements into it. They have the artist Blood Orange in it a couple times. It's
Mm,
like a punk album still, but it's like a whole lot of different stuff. But yeah, hardcore kids hate that. Like OG straight edge hardcore kids are like, nah,
right,
fuck this
right.
shit. Their album is pink. It's called Glow On. Talking about love. Fuck out of here. But no, it's good. I love it.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out because I fucked with them a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out and see the new direction that they're going in.
You should, yeah. They also have a black bassist who has been singing more
Mm,
on this album. He has like one song that he did in the last one called Moon, and I honestly like his vocal style. It reminds me of like old like Kill Switch kind of like vocal
Mm.
style, but like more in the punk direction.
right, right. Fuck yeah. And shows that you've been to recently because I know you saw Andrea and Mud, so I know that was awesome. But any other
Yeah,
ones?
that was awesome. No, that is the only one. My friends went and saw Chris Stapleton last night, but that's not really my avenue. I respect it, but I not me.
Is that country?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I want to go to a country concert. I've always wanted to go to one, even though I don't really fuck with country. But those motherfuckers can party, bro. So I would just get some lawn seats and fucking
They
party,
do, man. I've
Yeah.
never seen so many people get that drunk off Bud Light.
right?
But they're just pounding like
Yeah,
cases of Bud Light. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my god, you're gonna feel
Like
terrible
a
tomorrow.
50 pack of hot dogs is gone in like 2 hours. Like how? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When it comes to partying, I want to go to a country concert, NASCAR,
I was about to say
and
NASCAR.
a Latino party because I know
Oh yeah,
fucking Mexicans know how to fucking party, bro. And I've never been to a
dude.
party of theirs.
Yeah, you know that trailer park right next to Parker's house?
I don't.
Yeah, it's like right when you come around that curve, and like Shope Road's right here, and then his road's right there.
Yeah.
There's a trailer park like right up the road, like right there, and it has a huge Hispanic community. It's where I bought my Xterra, my old SUV that I had, the blue one.
Mm,
But we had some friends from high school that lived there, and Alejandro, the guy I bought the Xterra from, was there, and they had a huge party for someone's birthday. They had like 4 kegs. I did a keg stand off of each one of them because they were all different beer. I was like, if I'm gonna party, I want them all. I was fucking wasted. I remember Parker like picking me up off the one point. He's like, "What are you doing over here?" I was like, "I peed, wanted to lay down." I started falling asleep, just looking at the stars. They know how to party. That's for damn sure.
yeah, man, they really do. That's something I've never done is a keg stand. I'm trying to think. I've drinking out of keg, but no, I've never done a keg stand.
Yeah,
And I'm getting to the age where it's like I don't know if I should be doing keg stands.
Yeah, 34. I've
yeah.
never done one. It's like I think I'm past it. Like,
yeah,
I've had
Yeah.
too much recent pain with alcohol. My 20s, I didn't know what a hangover was, but man, I look at a beer now, I get sick.
yeah.
Really, you don't drink at all anymore?
Not often, and small quantities when I do.
Okay, that's the adult way to do it. I still have yet to learn anything about that.
Oh, when it starts hurting so bad every time, you're just like, fuck that. I'm not
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, man, that's how I stopped drinking. I still drink when I'm with the homies and shit, but I was fucking. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm watching the UFC, and I have this killer fucking headache. Like just to turn my head, like I had to turn my whole body. It hurt so bad. And I was drinking a beer, and I was trying to get drunk so I could get rid of the headache, and it just kept getting worse. And I was like, "Fuck this, man! This is stupid. It's not fun anymore," you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's not.
that was yeah. I bought 1 6 pack here, since then. That was like in May, like, and I was
Nice.
drinking. Yeah, I was drinking like a 30 pack a week. So yeah, fuck that, bro.
Yeah.
But I will say my current vibe is Sam Adams Juicy IPA.
Hmm.
It will surprise you to be a bigger brewery. It's actually very juicy.
Okay.
Is it
I'll
is it
try that.
sweet?
It's kind of sweet with a little bit of a hint of citrus to it.
I can do that with some IPAs. I can't do sweet beer, but if it has that like IPA kick to it, then I can handle a little sweetness.
Yeah, and it's not like
Hmm.
the traditional like hoppy up front, like the hoppy's like on the back end of it.
Right, right. And what have you been drinking, Trevor? Because I know you always have some cool beers in the fridge, unless it's PBR.
Yeah. So funny. I am drinking a cool beer, but it's PBR, but
Oh
it's
shit!
6.5 alcohol.
The
It's
fuck?
PBR extra.
Oh
I've been
shit!
looking for it. I can't find it here in Charleston.
Dude, I've been looking for it too, and it was at like the shittiest gas station in Alpharetta next to my work. Like the one I don't ever stop at, but I was like, you know what? I'm in a rush. I need to go, go, go. I was like, this place has it. I was like, what's that saying about PBR, guys? Come on.
Right. So what's it taste like? Because I know PBR don't taste like anything.
Excuse me?
PBR
Can you
does
repeat
not
that?
taste like anything.
Well, it tastes great because PBR is one of the best beers in the world.
Okay.
It
Let me
is.
let that sink in for a second. Uh,
Right.
Yeah, PBR tall boy with a shot of Jameson. That's where it's at.
All right
dude,
now.
that's my shit. PB and J. Give me a PB and J. Some bartenders look at me like I'm stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, give me a PB and J. Um,
Hmm. Never heard of it.
yeah, that's PBR and a shot of Jameson.
Hell yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it tastes like PBR with just like it's a little heavier, just a little bit. Um,
So,
it actually kind of made me sick yesterday because I uh, might have done a little bit too much of something else that involves smoking. Um, and yeah, I just had like half of this one. I drink it really fast, and I was like, whoa, no. So this one's from last night, still half drink. I'm gonna
Right.
just drink water today.
Right.
I hear that.
Yeah, that was my problem with drinking is I never had any moderation. It's like I wake up at 9 in the morning on a Saturday, let me crack open the beer. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same thing. If beer was here, I would drink it 100%. But I'm not gonna buy it because it doesn't seem appealing to me anymore.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, shit. It was amazing talking to you. You got anything to any bands out there or just any last words that you want to say about screen printing?
Hmm. Let's see. Well, I do want to say if anybody who's watching this does want to start learning more about screen printing, or if you have a setup already and you have no idea what the hell to do with it, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, Trevor Silk Screens. Um, you can also, yeah.
And
uh,
that's something I wanted to know. Silk screens. What is silk screens?
okay, so they call it silk screens, like, but they're not actually silk. They're kind of like a polyurethane, like polycarbonate thread. It's all like plastic based, but I'm pretty sure when it first started, they did use silk in some screens to screen print, like back in like 60s and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. Well, we need to hang out sometime soon when we both have a free weekend. I need to either come over or before it gets cold, we need to go to the lake and drink some alcohol.
Yes, man, we do need to go to the lake, bro. It's freaking getting older, being busy and shit, but I'm so down. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Hey,
it
y'all
has
come
to
out here,
happen.
man. I got the ocean. It's bigger than the lake.
You right
Oh,
about
damn,
that.
that is. It is very much bigger.
By a
Fuck.
small margin.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Well,
couple gallons.
let's just keep it going. Why don't?
I can't help
Hey,
myself.
here's one thought I had though. One of my jobs at work is to fill up the Keurig machine every day when I come in, so we can have water for tea and the coffee. And I used to not pour out yesterday's water, but I started thinking, when is yesterday's water gone and it's all today's water?
Wait, what?
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So the water that is
shit.
always in there, like, is it like how old is the oldest drop of water in there?
Yeah, that's
Like, if I never poured it down the sink, am I drinking water from last month, or is like all that water gone?
Oh man.
You know what's fucking with you though? Think
yeah, I
about
don't
it.
like it.
It is, dude.
Yeah, that's weird.
So now
I
I
don't
pour
know
it out
how-
every time. I'm like, I don't want to take a chance on having old ass water in this thing.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I'm not leaving this chair even after this call ends until I figure this out. I can't go on with my day until I know.
You're
Right?
just fucking drinking stagnant water and shit from a month ago.
Yeah.
Got a drop of
Yeah.
stagnant water in there mixed with fresh water.
So that girl from Signs, like, she won't drink yesterday's water, so there's just like half drink water cups everywhere.
Hell yeah. Hell
It
yeah.
has dust in it.
Today's
well,
dust.
Drink that fucking water. Ain't got no dust.
I guess that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Well,
Water.
No,
Bobby,
even better way.
what
Stay black,
is it?
motherfuckers.
Don't be wet.
Don't be wet.
Ba-ba-ba-bow.